My name's Sean McCoy. I'm the editor-in-chief of GearJunkie.com. We're a website that focuses on everything outdoors, as well as a few things that are sports and fitness related. Everything from ultramarathon running and mountaineering to hunting and fishing. If you find it in an REI or a Cabela's or a Bass Pro Shops, there's a good chance we cover it. And we serve about 1 million readers each month. We have a staff of about 15 people who goes out, tests everything they can, learns about the innovations in the outdoors world, and they bring back all that information and share it online. And I am in the lucky and privileged position to get to listen to all these people and learn from them every day. I have a few of the products here that we have tested and have looked at in the last year, and some of them I don't because we work with so many gear testers around the world. But I got a couple of my favorites here, and we can talk about those as well as the stuff that we have decided as a team were the most exciting products of 2019. Going into 2020, there's a couple new things that I'll address as well, and it's a pretty exciting time for gear. So personally, I would call this the golden age of outdoor sporting goods. I grew up in a time that was a little bit before then. I'm guessing most of you did too, but it was, you get wet feet, you get cold feet, you get cold hands. And today you can really, with a little bit of planning and foresight, avoid that almost exclusively by using good gear and avoiding going to the Arctic. I mean, there's places in the world, yes, you're gonna get cold, you're gonna get wet. However, with a little bit of work, you can find some things that are incredible right now. And even at price points, the high-end gear is exceptional, but the medium and low-end gear, with a little bit of thought, you can get pretty good products too. So starting off with the things that we felt really moved the needle in 2019. The first thing is probably the most popular product on our website was the Leatherman Free. Leatherman tools have been around for a while and they're incredibly popular. It's always a product that people are interested in, and I think most people own a multi-tool. Have you used multi-tools much? I'd assume, it's basically everybody in the outdoors is going to own one. This year, Leatherman did a change with their multi-tool. They redesigned it so that it opens and closes with magnets. You can really easily open it with one hand. It's a little harder to close it with one hand, but it's doable. And then all the tools on this can also open and close with one hand. You just slide it open. So you're basically looking at this and you just slide your finger across it, and all these tools now are openable, at least with one hand. Not so easy to close with one hand, I must admit, but they all close pretty easily. And it was a minor change, a minor evolution in the multi-tool, but that was one of the most popular articles that we wrote this year, and it's also one of the most popular products that our site has sold and that we've seen just in 1 year change the way that the multi-tool is. And Leatherman is kind of the originator of the multi-tool. Tim Leatherman is a bit of a mad scientist. I've met him a couple times, talked with him, and he carries a 3-pointed pen, red and a blue and a black pen, one of those little guys, and he's constantly making notes. And he's always striving for making something that's different and better. I would say that this is a big innovation for 2019. And it's one that I like a lot. I use them all the time, so it's a great product. The next one, and this is a materials story. Don't know if anybody heard of a product called graphene. Okay, so graphene is a single layer of carbon, more or less. It's one of the hardest, strongest substances on Earth. It's very hard to work with, though. A company called Innovate, and I have a mediocre photograph of it here. It looks like a football shoe almost, like a cleat. So Innovate developed a trail running shoe using graphene as the material in this lugged sole. So it's designed for running over fairly thick, soft soils like loam, and it's called fell running in Europe. Places that have softer soil, this product was really moved the needle a lot because it increases the durability of the sole of these shoes. It allows the rubber material to last much longer. So with graphene, we now see that also in fly rods and a number of other places, but this is the first footwear that has ever used it in the sole or anywhere else as far as we have found out, and it really changed the way that materials can be used in the outdoors. So moving from a very high-tech material into simple product innovation and somebody looking at something unlike they have ever looked at it before is the GMC tailgate. So in 2019, GMC invented a tailgate that was unlike any tailgate. They thought about it for the first time, I feel like. It was this place that everybody, there's country songs about tailgates, this, that, put your beer on it, you sit on it, but nobody ever did anything new with it. Well, GMC came around in 2019. The name of it, a Multi-Pro, there it is. I like the GMC Multi-Pro tailgate allows you to do a lot of different things with it. We had one at the office for a little while. It's got speakers in it. It folds down into a step, or it folds back up. There's a handle on it. It reconfigures the tailgate in so many ways. And for those of us who drive pickups, it's kind of like, I'm looking at it going, I don't know if it's enough for me to invest in a brand new pickup, but it makes me think about it. So it definitely was a cool change in gear in 2019. And I don't even know what exact category to call what this next product is, but it's an apparel product. It's an ingredient like Gore-Tex, was invented this year, called Future Light. So Future Light is the North Face's attempt at Gore-Tex, but in a whole new way. What they do is they essentially have a substrate and tiny nozzles that blast out particulate matter that forms a sheet. The sheet has little micro holes in it that let water through one way, but they will let water vapor through, but they won't let water through it. Much like Gore-Tex, the difference is this material is all recyclable, it's all recycled, and it's also tunable to the sense that if you want to be an ultra runner, you want to go fast, go light, they make it very light and very breathable. If you want to climb mountains and be the person who's at the top of Everest, they also make it very thick and less breathable, but it suits the needs of that particular athlete. And because of that, it's given the North Face a big step up on a lot of the competition. They've stopped working with Gore-Tex. They're starting to do their own thing. It's a very interesting and different product, which I think we'll see coming out. It's going to be a push for the North Face for the next few years. I'm guessing everything from single wall tents to mountaineering jackets to running jackets and things like that. We'll see it from that brand. Similar brands are going to start addressing this too, and it'll be an interesting change in the coming years. This spinning process that's electro-spinning, I want to say it's called. Other companies like Outdoor Research are also going to be probably addressing that. So that's an apparel one that takes things higher in technology. Going the other direction in absolutely low tech, but really rethinking the way that things are done, is a product called the Igloo Recool. So the Recool is the most simple, basic styrofoam cooler, except for it's not made of styrofoam. It's made of recycled cardboard. It puts a little bit of paraffin wax into this cheap cooler, basically, and you can see that's what you're looking at with this cooler. It's looks like a cardboard box, basically, but it's waterproof. It would last we had one in our office for a couple weeks, and we left ice in it, it melted, we left beer in there, it got warm, it got cold, and it worked. It worked as well as what you'd expect out of a cheap $10 styrofoam cooler. This one also costs $10. The difference is when you throw it in a landfill, it won't last for 1,000 years. It's made of cardboard, it will rot away, it's compostable, you could put it in your garden and it would turn into earth in a year. Whereas styrofoam coolers, you buy one of those $10 ones at the gas station, it's gonna be there forever. And that sustainability story is something that particularly the REI crowd and I think it's expanding across all markets right now, is starting to be something that people are recognizing. Plastic kills fish, plastic kills whales. People are trying to find ways to eliminate those short-term use plastics in their life, and one of these ways is something like the Igloo Recool. Really cool, clever, and now we're starting to see copycats already coming along, so I'm keeping my eyes open to see the next time I go into 7-Eleven and see something like this instead of the styrofoam cooler. Should be the same price range and hopefully lasts a lot less time. Next, Taking a product that everybody loves and making it lighter and better. Everybody uses is the tripod. Tripods have been around a long time. Peak Design is a company that launched a few years ago on just simply reinventing the camera strap. They crowdfunded to the tune of millions of dollars with a better camera strap. Well, this year they came out with a tripod. It's carbon fiber, fairly expensive, but the big differentiator is that for a lightweight, it folds in on itself and it shrinks down to just a little bit bigger than like a Nalgene water bottle. So they take this new tripod that's very sturdy, very capable for a full-size camera, and make it light enough that you can throw it into a small backpack and take it with you around the world. So Peak Design really changed the tripod design with this one, and it launched to the tune of $6 million on crowdfunding on Kickstarter. So that was one of those that we recognized for sure as Gear of the Year. Another one, going faster. This was the year that shoes made a huge difference in human performance. The Nike, I'm gonna get this name right because it's pretty, Zoom X Vaporfly Next running shoe. Excuse me. This running shoe has been scientifically shown to actually increase the speed of runners by about 2 to 5%, depending on the study and depending on the runner. It was crucial in breaking the 2-hour marathon barrier, which, while kind of a controversial record, it wasn't in an actual marathon and the runner had support and whatnot, it still was the first time some human being has run a 2-hour marathon. It's an incredible pace. We tried to do it as a team just to see how fast it is. And so a few of us as runners, I run a lot, but not anywhere near that pace. So we went out and tried it. I think the longest that we made, and Kirk back here shooting video was the one that was along with us on that day. I think he actually went the farthest, and it was maybe about a half mile, a little bit, 70 miles. No, it wasn't very far. But these runners that are setting these paces these days, it's amazing. We were doing it on a bike, and it feels fast. So it was about 13.5 miles an hour, I want to say you have to maintain for 2 hours to break that record, which feels incredible when you're trying to run it. So anyways, that shoe, what they do, they use a carbon plate in the foot that returns energy quickly, and it really has changed the way that runners are able to move forward fast. Fascinated to see what comes up next. On the knife front, it's a pretty basic knife, and I have one of these. I've been using it a lot. Simple knife, it's titanium. It's made by a company called Vargo. I don't know if you guys have heard of Vargo. They mostly make titanium cookware for ultralight backpacking. Well, they came out with a knife this year, and if you guys want to see it, you're welcome to pass it around. Check out the blade. It's been used a lot, so that's why there's garbage all over it. It feels pretty dull, honestly, and I put it on the sharpen it a few times, and you'll think it's fairly dull, but it cuts amazingly. If you were to take that and cut stuff, it works. And the reason is this is made from a sintered titanium, which is a very soft material, opposite of what most knife blades are. Most of the time with a knife blade, you're gonna get a very hard material that is trying to hold that edge. Whereas with this sintered titanium, their methodology of staying sharp is by using what they call micro serrations. So because of the surface of this, it's a mixture of titanium and ceramic, much like brake pads in race cars. When you cut with it, because on the surface, the molecular level of this, it cuts almost like a serrated blade, even though it has a smooth edge. And so this knife, I've tested it against S30V steel, which is a very hard, very effective knife steel that has been around forever and everybody loves. And this will cut tough material longer than S30V by a lot, even though it is much softer on the Rockwell scale. It's kind of fascinating material. I still haven't quite figured out exactly how it works, but it works. And because of that, we gave it a Gear of the Year award. It's fascinating stuff, and it's also a really nicely designed knife, really light, really useful. I think hikers and backpackers people who might be doing the Appalachian Trail, spending the entire summer on the trail without a stone to sharpen their knife, that's the kind of thing you might want to carry. Another one that was an innovation within a product category like that was just a little different and changed things is a product from Smartwall called Internet. So what Internet did is it entirely removed all of the seams from a base layer. So they basically start with a single piece of thread and run it around and around and around and knit a 3D product out of a single piece of thread. You end up with no seams, and it's incredibly comfortable. They can do it with merino wool or any other type of product that's great for the outdoors, and we've been testing it for about a year now and have been really impressed. My only concern with Internet is it's shown to be a little bit less durable than some of the other products that they've made, but it's still really good stuff and really interesting. They're also able to knit in breathability areas, so across your back or armpits where you might sweat, they're able to knit in much thinner amounts of wool so that you can breathe through there and get rid of that moisture quicker. The next one on here is a cycling product. I am a very average cyclist, and so I always look at this one, I lean on our team who are much more avid cyclists than I am. And what it is, I'm gonna read this off here because I have a hard time figuring out how this moves the needle, but so they call it SRAM Eagle Red AXS. It's a group set. So mountain bikes have gone crazy in the last 10 years, and they're incredible. But a lot of people in mountain bikes think this is one of the biggest gear revolutions in decades. And so what it is it's truly wireless shifting. Yes? You're a racer? Okay. I'm glad to hear that you agree on that. It's entirely wireless, right? And here's what our writing or our editor of the bike section said is that it's truly wireless shifting. It's cross-compatible, allowing you to pair road shifters with mountain derailleurs. Even more importantly, it gives your bike a brain. So it kind of can learn from you. I don't know exactly how this works, but it sounds really cool, and it also, I believe that a lot of people were excited about it, and correct me if I'm wrong, but they were saying that it basically is going to lead to developments in other areas in cycling. So that you're gonna see this right now, I don't remember what it costs, $2,000, something like that for the group set, but you're gonna see this in 5 years starting to trickle into less expensive parts of the cycling industry. And for people who bike seriously, I think that could mean a lot. I love mountain biking. I've never raced, it's fun, but to those who race, that do these big days, I think it's gonna make a lot of difference. They were very excited about it, and I'm glad you are too. Have you gotten to ride it? Sweet. Yeah. It seems pretty awesome. I'm hoping to get on one of those one of these days and at least get to demo a bike like that. So it's neat stuff. So yeah, the cycling world is seeing a lot this year. We didn't go into a lot of depth on the cycling this year, but touching on that one, it's pretty neat. One that is absolutely bonkers expensive here, but interesting, and we thought was unlike anything that has ever been done, is obviously by Yeti. So Yeti, obviously known for expensive products and kind of changing the paradigm on things like that, this year is launching, and it's just launched, I guess, a stainless steel double wall insulated cooler. So if you can think of your coffee mug and how that keeps your coffee hot and cold, there's a double wall stainless steel, and then it has a vacuum in between. A vacuum is basically a perfect insulator. It insulates against everything other than radiant heat loss. Well, they made a cooler out of this. It's the full-sized Yeti size big cooler, but it's made from stainless steel. It's double wall insulated, and it costs $800 for the size of a normal cooler. So we're talking next level price, next level performance. I think at that level, a lot of people are going to want to start looking at a electric refrigerator, a small portable refrigerator, which I think are awesome and are going to start making a big dent in the industry as well. But this is something unlike anybody's ever done. I don't think it's going to be particularly popular, but it's an innovation that it's cool to see somebody do it for the first time. In the ski goggle world, Smith, I'm going to be quick on this one because it's fairly simple. They made 3D ski goggles in a different way. They come underneath your eye and up. So I don't know how many of you are skiers, but if you've ever sat on a chairlift and tried to go like this and reach into a pocket and see what you're doing right about here, your goggles block that. It's kind of like having a finger right under here. you can't see this area. And when you're downhill skiing, it makes it harder to see what your feet are doing. So Smith came up with the 4D Mag goggle. It's a magnetic interchange goggle, which a lot of them are, but it has a curvature that goes underneath the bottom of the goggle and brings it very close to your eye. It allows you to see down in a way that I have never seen and that I don't think has ever been done. For a ski goggle, for serious skiers, it's gonna make a lot of difference, and it's really nice. So we were really stoked on that, and it looks really cool when you're wearing it too, because not only does it go this way, but it goes underneath. Very RoboCop-ish. Pretty neat stuff. Yep. And that's kind of what it looks like. Another one in the gravity sports realm is the Sweep Protection Arbitrator helmet. So this helmet, I don't know, do you do enduro riding at all? A little bit? All right, so you know on enduro, usually you're required to wear a helmet all the time, even though you're going uphill and not racing on the uphill. You're racing on the downhill. While you go uphill, you still have to wear a helmet usually. If you're not, you have a big chin guard helmet. Well, the Arbitrator is what they call them a cabriolet. I think in a lot of places in Europe, they've been done before, but this one just does it way better. It's a removable chin guard. Put the chin guard in your backpack and you have a normal mountain bike helmet. You can ride just like a normal day. You're riding with a mountain bike helmet, you get to the top of the mountain, put the chin guard back on, put that helmet on, and you've got full face protection for the downhill. I was in Norway meeting with Sweep Protection about this, and I watched them, and they did, I got the number here, I can't remember how many parts, 87 parts to make it with 0.02 millimeters in tolerances to make this thing fit together. It's fabulously beautiful. And I don't have the price in front of me, but I remember it's a fairly reasonable price and you end up getting 2 helmets out of one. You could wear the normal helmet without the chin guard every day, just mountain biking, and be completely happy with it. So it's a really cool product and unlike anything else we've seen before too. Just got a couple more here, getting towards the end of the list, and then we'll give away this gift certificate. One that we were really excited about for boating it's a Mustang Survival. I don't know are you guys familiar with the company Mustang? They're a Canadian company that makes water, like sailing and survival gear for boating in general. It's called the Chimera PFD. It's a dual action PFD that provides, as it sits, you put it on your body, and it's a normal PFD that would float you up in kind of standard water situations. If you're in heavier water, whitewater particularly, and you want to get more buoyancy, you can inflate it by pulling on a string like a typical inflatable one. So it gives you the best of both worlds in that sense, that you have buoyancy at all times, but it's not bulky, you can paddle in it well, pull the ripcord, and it inflates to a much larger, more buoyant PFD to keep you out of trouble in big water. And it's got a built-in CO2 cartridge, adds 12.5 pounds of additional buoyancy when you pull it. So that's gonna make a lot of difference for paddlers. A lot of our paddle team was really excited about that. Night Eyes, it's a small company, makes all kinds of, let's say a big company, makes all kinds of products that are really small usually. They came out with they call it the True Zip. It's a waterproof zipper, super slick, looks like what you'd get in a Ziploc bag in general, but it is very tough. So you make a waterproof bag, you can stomp on it, you can jump on it, it doesn't pop open, it doesn't leak, and this is just a little innovation that makes a much better waterproof bag. So you're gonna see these coming around, and it's also self-healing, so if it does get popped open, you can zip it back and forth and it'll fix itself, much like a Ziploc bag would. Very cool product, and something that you will probably see in just about every store in the next couple years. You're gonna see these little Night Eyes bags that you can put everything from tiny little stuff like cell phones up to big multi-day waterproof bags coming out like that. And then finally, something that we're excited about due to the sustainability story in it is this jacket here. It's made by a company called Picture, which is based in Chamonix, France. You wouldn't think anything of it other than this is just your typical jacket. It's a waterproof, breathable jacket, downhill skiing, does whatever you'd normally do with a waterproof jacket. The difference is that 58% of it is recycled material, and the waterproof, breathable layer in it, which you would normally think of as a brand like Gore-Tex, This one's made out of castor oil. So it doesn't use petroleum. The petroleum products that are used in it are made, are recycled. And the biggest difference and the reason that it matters to us is you'd never know it wearing this jacket. This jacket performs as well as anything you're gonna get for a downhill ski shell, yet it has a great sustainability story. Most of the pieces of this jacket are not only recycled, but they're also recyclable. So you could take them back to a recycling facility once this is done, and it can go back into the stream and make something new. That is going to be a huge trend in 2020. In the last couple of years, we've seen a gradual growth in this mindset of making products that both use things that have already been used once and also are now going to be finding their way into new products, and then products that can be recycled, have less impact, less plastics, and Picture is at the leading edge of that. It's a really cool brand, and there's a lot of others. I was talking with a couple of our other editors today, and we decided in a lot of senses that most brands are at a point where they no longer will be able to ignore this. The idea of sustainability, it's almost at the point, it's a watershed moment where if you're not doing it, you're gonna get left behind. And we're gonna see a lot of that in the future. I think there's a lot of great brands that we're gonna see coming out with products like that. And it's a pretty exciting thing in the outdoor industry because the outdoor industry is able to lead. It's often been the place where, you know, kind of like NASA and the aerospace industry, that new products are tested and new ways of thinking are able to come to light. And we're pretty excited to see what's gonna come out in 2020.